You know that specific kind of dread?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, the one where you pick up your phone, your thumb hovers over your investment app, and you just decide, you know what? Not today.
Right, the classic ostrich strategy. If I don't look at the volatility, it can't actually hurt me.
Exactly. You know the market is wobbling. You know there's probably some red ink in there, and the instinct is just to freeze.
It's a very human reaction, honestly. The market feels really unsettled right now. Stocks are sliding and people are anxious.
They really are. But here is the thing that triggered this deep dive today. We've been looking at a stack of reports analyzing data on over 200 banks and credit unions.
And treasury data too, yeah.
Right. And the data suggests that while we're also busy worrying about the stock market throwing a tantrum, we're completely ignoring a massive anomaly in the boring stuff.
Like cash.
Like cash. Because right now, the mission for this deep dive is to figure out if there's actually a way to earn a solid return. We're talking 3 to 5% with virtually no risk.
Even while the stock market is acting up.
Exactly.
It is a bit of a paradox. I mean, usually when the market is shaky, safety is expensive. You historically have to accept near zero returns just to sleep at night.
But right now,
Right now, we are in this weird sweet spot for cash. Yields are near multi-year highs. We are seeing a complete inversion of that old rule.
so to give you an idea of where we're going today, we are going to break down exactly how much $10,000, $25,000, or even $50,000 could earn you in just 6 months if you move it to the right place.
Because if you aren't doing it, you aren't just playing it safe. You are actively losing purchasing power.
Let's get right into the mechanics of this because the headline numbers are, well, they're surprising.
Very.
I want to start with the macro context because, to be honest, it feels totally counterintuitive.
It does feel wrong.
Right. Because we know the Federal Reserve trimmed its benchmark rate last fall by 0.75 percentage points, to be exact. Basic economics says when the Fed cuts rates, savings rates should just plummet.
Yes, normally they do.
So why are we still seeing 5% offers out there? Is this some kind of trap?
It's not a trap, but it is a temporary inefficiency. It really highlights a lag in the banking system.
Okay, a lag.
Yeah, so yes, the Fed cut rates, but banks, specifically the online ones and credit unions, are still in this fierce competition for deposits.
Because they need capital to lend out.
Exactly. So while the official rate ticked down, the competition between these institutions is keeping yields artificially buoyed.
So they're basically paying us a premium just to be loyal.
Basically, yes. They are fighting for your cash, and that fight is a huge opportunity. But we have to be clear here, safe places for cash always exist, but they rarely pay this well. It's a window.
Okay, so let's look at the landscape. If you're listening right now and you have cash sitting idle in a standard checking account, what are we actually looking at? What's on the menu?
If you look at the top tier, you are seeing high-yield savings accounts hitting that 5% mark.
But that usually comes with some hoops, right?
Up to 5% with requirements, yeah. Things like setting up direct deposits or using a debit card a certain number of times a month.
Right, the classic strings attached.
But even if you strip all that away, say you just want zero hassle, no strings attached, you are still looking at roughly 4.5% for the best accounts.
And what about certificates of deposit, CDs?
The best nationwide rate for CDs is currently sitting at 4.50%. And then you have your brokerages, robo-advisors, and treasuries hovering in that mid-3 to mid-4% range.
I just want to pause on that spread for a second. We're talking about 3 to 5% on cash.
It's wild.
It is because I think people forget that for practically a decade, safe meant 0.01%.
Oh, absolutely. It's a totally different universe now. It's a rare moment where safety doesn't mean zero returns.
So the source research categorizes these safe havens into 3 main buckets. Let's break those down.
Sure. So bucket 1 is your bank and credit union products.
Savings accounts, money market accounts, CDs.
Right. And the absolute non-negotiable rule here is that they must be federally insured, FDIC for banks, or NCUA for credit unions.
I feel like we need to clarify something quickly. Money market accounts get confused with money market funds all the time.
Huge distinction there. A money market account, or MMA, is a bank product. It sits right here in bucket 1. It's insured.
So it's basically just a savings account with check writing privileges.
Exactly. Now, a money market fund, which falls into bucket 2, is a brokerage product. It's a mutual fund that buys very short-term debt.
And crucially, that is not FDIC insured.
Generally, no. Their rates fluctuate daily based on the market. They also have cash management accounts in that second bucket, which are a bit more fixed but still adjustable.
Got it. So bucket 1 is the insured fortress. Bucket 2 is the brokerage side. What is bucket 3?
Bucket 3 is U.S. Treasury products.
Right. T-bills, notes, bonds.
And I-bonds. You can buy these directly through Treasury Direct or on the secondary market.
I-bonds are interesting because the sources specifically called them out.
Yeah, because they can be held for up to 30 years, and the rates are adjusted every 6 months to keep pace with inflation.
That's a great feature. Now, going back to bucket 1 for a second, the source had a specific vetting process for these banks and credit unions, didn't they?
They did. To be considered a nationwide option, a bank had to be available in at least 40 states.
And for the credit unions, because
Yes.
those usually have really strict membership rules.
Right, like you have to work in a certain county or for a specific company. The source only included credit unions if they had an easy workaround.
Like those donate to join options.
Exactly. As long as the required donation was under $40, they counted it as nationwide.
Okay, so we have the 3 buckets, but I want to make this tangible.
Let's do the math.
Yes, because if I have cash sitting idle, I want to know what I am actually losing out on.
Percentages can sound a bit abstract until you put dollar signs in front of them.
Right, 3.25% versus 5% doesn't sound like a massive difference to the average person.
But it is. The source provided a great earnings table for a 6-month period. Assuming the APY holds steady, let's walk through it.
Let's start with $10,000.
Okay, 10 grand. At 3.25%, you earn about $161 in 6 months.
Okay, very bad.
But at 5%, you earn roughly $247.
So you're looking at a difference of what, about $86?
Right, it pays for a nice dinner.
Sure. Let's bump it up. What if you have $25,000 sitting there? Say it's a solid emergency fund.
At 3.25%, that earns you $403. At 5%, you are looking at $617.
Now we are talking about a difference of over $200.
And it scales. Let's look at a $50,000 deposit. Maybe someone saving for a house down payment.
Okay, 50 grand,
At 3.25%, you earn about $806.
which is nice.
Sure, but at 5%, you earn $1,235.
Wow. Okay, so the difference between a mediocre account at 3.25 and a top-tier account at 5% on a 50K balance
Is over $400.
in just 6 months. That is essentially free money you find just by moving your funds to a different website.
It really is. It's a laziness tax if you don't do it.
But there is a critical trade-off here that we have to discuss.
The fixed versus variable problem.
Exactly, because this is the most important strategic element from the source, the difference between locking in a rate and staying flexible.
Right. Those top-tier savings accounts and money market accounts we just talked about, those have variable rates.
Meaning they can change at any time.
Yes. They generally drop whenever the Fed cuts rates. So if the Fed cuts again, that shiny 5% savings account might drop immediately.
You are riding the wave, but the wave can crash.
Exactly. Contrast that with CDs and treasuries, which are fixed.
The lock-in advantage.
Right. They allow you to lock in your yield for a set amount of time. Even if the Fed cuts rates completely tomorrow, your CD rate stays exactly the same until maturity.
So how does someone figure out which profile fits them best?
It comes down to liquidity. Do you need the money soon? If yes, stick to the savings or cash accounts. You accept the variable risk to keep your flexibility.
But if you know you won't need that money for a while,
Then you lock it in. If you want to guarantee that 4.5% return for a year, regardless of what the economy does, you go with CDs or treasuries.
it's all about matching your timeline to the product.
Exactly.
So just to recap the main takeaway here for everyone listening, the stock market is sliding. It feels unsettled. But cash is currently paying 3 to 5% with virtually no risk.
You do not have to just sit tight and wait out the storm.
No, you can put that idle cash to work right now.
The immediate step is to check the APY on your current savings account today. If it's not starting with a 4 or 5, you are leaving money on the table.
Which brings us to one final thought to leave you with. We talk so much about risk in investing the risk of losing money.
The downside risk.
Right. But in an unsettled market, the biggest risk might not be losing money in stocks.
It's the opportunity cost.
Exactly. It's letting your safety net just sit there at 0% when it could literally be paying for your next vacation.
It's a historic window. Don't let it close without taking advantage of it.
Perfectly said. Time to go check those APYs.
Get to it.